Hello, dear listeners. This is Miriam Joku, your host at the Overcoming Your Story podcast. Today, in the second episode of the Family Dynamic series, I will talk about the Narcissistic Mother. Initially, I wanted to talk about the Narcissistic Parent, but I think I will just focus on the Narcissistic Mother. But I guess these are traits you can also use for a father. A narcissistic parent can be defined as someone who lives through their child and who is possessive of their child, and also who engages in marginalizing their child, where they criticize, put down their child. Typically, this kind of parent perceives the independence of their child as a threat, and they force their child to exist only in their own shadow, with unreasonable expectations. In a narcissistic parenting relationship, the child is not loved only for the person that they are. They are made to feel that the person that they are is not enough. It's conditional love, it's not unconditional love. Before we go deeper into this episode, I just want to preface by saying that all what you will hear in this episode doesn't mean that you have to go and start hating or blaming your parent if they fit what we are describing here. They did what they could. That's the reality of it. They are doing what they can with the tools that they received. And if they are like that, it's certainly that they didn't go through a loving, safe, warm childhood themselves. And that's how they came out of it. So the goal is not to blame as usual, but for us to understand the dynamics, to hear from them, so that we find freedom, inner peace. If we are parents, we learn the tools to bring other things to our children, right? So after that, I will start with a quote. And this quote comes from the book, Will I Ever Be Good Enough? By Dr. Karyl McBride. I will put it in the show notes. So the quote is, self-trust, self-love, and self-knowledge can be taught to a daughter only by a mother who possesses those qualities herself. Self-trust, self-love, and self-knowledge can be taught to a daughter only by a mother who possesses those qualities herself. But let's dive deeper into the traits of the narcissistic mother. So the narcissistic mother, most of the time she thinks she's perfect. In her mind, she's the perfect mother. There's no better. She shows this image where she wants people to believe she's perfect. For the narcissistic mother, the image is everything. The image is stronger than everything. The image is the prisoner she is in and in which she holds her children. There are two sides to them. There's what they really are and what they want the world to believe. So they want to project this image to the world, and so that people believe that they are grandiose, they are magnificent. And so in that sense, they want to use their kids as a way to bolster this public image, right? They want their kids to get straight A's in school so that people will praise them. Oh, your kids are so wonderful. They want to help in the cafeteria, coach the baseball team so that people say how great they are and stuff. So it's really about the image. And where it becomes tricky for the children is that at home, they get the other side. It's like, I wouldn't say Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, but at home, it's not like that. At home, when the cameras are gone and the show is off, the show is not going anymore well, the narcissistic mother can be quite distant and even cold. Is not interested in the nitty-gritty of parenting. They want the big day, the day of the prize, but they don't want to do all what it takes, to nurture the child to get there. They are more interested in the celebration than frying all the buff buff for the celebration, if I might speak like that. It's always all about them. It's about how the people praise them. Their kids are an extension of themselves. So they don't see their kids as whole human beings. They see their kids as an extension of themselves. They even believe that their kids belong to them and they can do whatever they want with their children. So they have very high expectations for their children. My child, you will go to Oxford and then you will go to Harvard, and that's all. And if you don't do it, I will cut you off. You're not my child. You have to uphold the family name. You have to make your family proud. I'm not saying that these sentences are always manipulative, narcissistic, but it can be. The narcissistic mother can be very manipulative, can manipulate people to get to her, to get things out of them, manipulate her children, people outside. They can also be very charming, and they can be very controlling over their children. When we talk about love for a child, well, there is unconditional love. So there's vulnerability, there's tenderness, and all those things. I think these parents, they grow up, they don't have that, because what they know is power, right? Because as a parent, you're the authority figure, but authority is different from power, right? Authority, you're the grown up, you're responsible for your children, but it doesn't mean that you have to put a dynamic of domination over your children. So this parent puts this dynamic of domination over their child, where their child has no voice, no space. So the narcissistic mother controls the narrative. They control what so you see reality, and they tell you what reality you should be seeing, and that's not what you're seeing. So it's actually gaslighting. So you refuse your feelings. You see something and they tell you you're not seeing it. You see it's blue, they tell you it's green. So, and there's no space for you to say, but actually that's not what I see. If you say that, they feel threatened, they can beat you up and things like that. So it's very damaging. They make themselves really very, very small in order to accommodate the parent. Sometimes when the kid dares to confront them, they can even call like family members to tell everybody what a bad kid you are, and then yeah, it can backfire really bad. So they portray that, and this kind of mother can have, is that they can present themselves as victims. It's always about them, poor them. Since they were born, things have been so hard on them. No one ever helps them. They are all alone. People are out to get them. They are so mean. People are jealous of them. Parenting is so hard. Nobody is helping me in this house. Since I was a child, I have been suffering. There's never been anybody for me. When this kind of parent goes to the child to complain like this, the child gets really overwhelmed, because children love their parents. So the child wants to help their parent. They feel guilty that they cannot help make the parent feel better, even though it's not their role. Let's just say that there. So they feel really guilty. But then again, it's a very ambivalent, because at the same time they feel angry. They feel angry that it's always about the parent, how the parent feels, how hard it was for the parent. They had to walk 8 kilometers to go to school with no water, no food. It's always about the parent, and it's never about the child. Like, the child is never seen. So there's, even though they maybe most of the time it's not expressed, there's like hidden guilt, and shame, right? And anger, for never feeling seen. And then this kind of parent who might want to get validation for all the good things that they do. There's this the narcissistic mother might be the type to go out and help so many people, and then they just say, oh, you're so lucky, your mother is so amazing. Look how she fundraised for kids at the other end of the world. And then I don't know, maybe you need a pullover, and then your mom has been putting off bringing you to the store to get the pullover, and that's your reality, and you cannot tell anyone, because if you tell anyone you're the liar, she's controlled the narrative so much. Everybody sees the world. She's manipulated everyone so well that you cannot go out and actually say that it's not true. So these kids, they often suffer in silence, because when the doors are closed, the parent they get can be cold, can be distant. When the people praising them are not there around to look, they can really show themselves to be very different to their children, especially when sometimes they see their children as an inconvenience. Some of them even hold grudges against their children, that it's because their children, sometimes they will say really cruel things like, you ruined my life. If it was not because of, if it was not you, if you were not in my life, I would have married off and gone with this person. He didn't want children and things like that. My youth, my beauty is gone because of you. Sometimes it can get really horrible. And then also they can have really very strong judgmental views of others, like very critical of other people, rigid judgmental views. But when they meet people that they are critical of, ironically in public, they will laugh, put up face, look very charming and sweet. And once they get home, they're very, they seem to have like so high, no one does anything right. They are very special. They've got it all right, and other people don't understand anything. They criticize how other people live their lives. And what does it show the kid? So these negative, rigid worldviews can also be passed on to the child, number one. And number two, it shows the kid that if you don't follow the rules, you can be ostracized. You can lose, your mom will take away the love, because you're not up to their standard. So just some manipulative techniques that a narcissistic mother can use, so they can guilt trip their children. I've done everything for you and you're so ungrateful. I sacrificed my life for you. um, these words, there are so many moms who do that. They will even start crying. I gave everything for you to have the opportunities you have today. They want to be glorified for even just feeding their children they chose to bring into the world. But it's as if the child has to build a shrine to every day pray and glorify the mother. So they also blame. It's your fault that I'm not happy. It's because I had to raise you that I didn't, I don't know, go take that flight attendant job and have the best life. um, they also shame. You failed at school again. You're an embarrassment to the family. They will negatively compare children. Why can't you be as good as your brother? Why can't you be as good as that child down the road? Your mates are building houses. What are you doing here? So it's always this comparison that leaves the child feeling really not worthy. And they can put so much pressure. You will go to Oxford and have that degree. If not, I will cut you out or something. And they can also use punishment and reward. If you don't graduate from X college, I will cut off your support. So um, you're not my daughter if you do this or if you don't do that. So it's really all conditional love. And also, the narcissistic mother can create a very dependent relationship with their child, where they want the child to depend on them, to hear from them, because they need someone to manipulate. They need someone to look up to them as if they were a god. And what better than a small child to do that, to groom, to teach how to be like that. Um, so this reminds me too that most of the times these mothers, they will divide their kids into two groups. You have what they call the black sheep, and then the golden child. So the black sheep is the child that gets all the blame, gets all the whatever. And then you have the golden child. It's like the child that does it all right, that has the favors of the narcissistic mother. And you might think that being the golden child is good, but it's not. In that the golden child lives in a fantasy world that is constructed by the mother, telling them that they are the best. If they have difficulties, if they have problems with other people, they are jealous and everything. Like the golden child doesn't live in reality. And when they go out into the world, they see how they have such a hard time coping because reality will not treat them, the outside world will not treat them with that sense of entitlement that their mother treated them with. And actually, what happens with the black sheep is that they can start their healing journey actually earlier because they tend to understand the dynamics of the family earlier, and then they might seek help and support from people outside the family because they're not getting any in the family. So it might actually be turn out to be good for them. And also, the narcissistic mother can start competing with the daughters, especially when the daughters start getting start becoming teenagers. Their bodies transforming. They start looking like a woman. The narcissistic mother can really feel threatened and like say really mean things about the body, clothes. I mean, especially as the child grows and gains maturity and independence. Because if you remember the episode about the enmeshed families, it's when the narcissistic mother feels that the child is becoming their individual self and is separating, and they don't have so much uh, control, especially if this child starts thinking for themselves, choosing their career, their studies. Yeah, the mother can become really aggressive and critical of their child, of if they have a partner, very critical of the partner, the friends, and things like that. And also, we have to say that because of this need for people to admire them, right? The narcissistic mother can actually be quite neglectful because they are so obsessed with having a wonderful career, having, shining in society, um, having personal adventures and hobbies that they neglect. They don't take the time to raise their children. So that's an aspect of it too. Since they believe they are the perfect parent, they don't know how to apologize. They don't want to lose face. They always want to show you that they're doing well. They feel that's what they should be doing. I think in African families, the guilt tripping of the narcissistic mom is something. After all what I've done to you, I sacrifice all my life for you. And many daughters have heard that kind of thing. So, before we go on to the consequences, I will just quickly share about my own experience in the dynamic. So, in my early childhood, my mom was not there. So, but my sister was there. But also, when we reunited when I was a teenager, when my sister too was a teenager, my mom, I don't know, I think she felt threatened because she didn't know us and she saw how close we were. And, she had, that was her way of feeling emotionally safe. But these things that I'm telling you today, I didn't know them then, right? She got into the relationship between me and my sister, and she installed this triangulation. Somehow, I don't know how it happened, but if I needed to speak to my sister, instead of calling my sister, I called my mom. If my sister needed to speak to me, she called my mom. And we never spoke directly. So my mom was feeding us information that was not right and manipulating us, basically, always complaining to me about my sister, and apparently also complaining about me to my sister, and complaining to one of our uncles in Cameroon twice a week about how we are such bad kids and everything that we didn't know. But so, yeah, it was really bad. So for years, I didn't get along with my sister. And it's only a couple of years ago when like shit hit the fan that we talked and we undid like years and years of, oh my God, that's not true. I never said that, and things like that. So we've healed that relationship, and we are very, very vigilant not to get manipulated again by our mom, because we know she does that to feel safe, but it's very destructive. So um and for me it was even harder because my sister was the, even with the triangulation, she was the black sheep. So she detached from the family a long time ago, and she healed, and she started her healing journey a long time ago. My healing journey is more recent, but I'm so grateful we are so close again, just like we were when we were children. So she helps me a lot. When I hit the hurdle, I call her, and then she talk we talk things through, because yeah, I really appreciate the support. I also go to therapy. That helps a lot, finding that freedom and that inner peace, from I think what I struggle with the most is the guilt, because I was groomed to take care of others, like compulsively take care of others. So I'm taking deep breaths, and but for my mom, it's really hard, because I really feel this impulse to want to fix her life. And it's not because I just feel it. She would repeat it to me over and over. Oh, I know you will help me find a house, a boyfriend, this, a job. So, I was putting so much pressure on myself to do all of those things for my mother. But today, I know that that's not my role. That's her role. She's responsible for her happiness. I have to, mind my own business, as they say. So that's a good transition into the consequences and possible actions we can take. So the consequences is that if you are a child and you grew up with a narcissistic mother and you become an adult, so the consequences are that you feel that you're never good enough or valuable enough. You're deeply afraid to speak up confidently and challenge others, because you were not raised to challenge. You had to stay in line. If you challenge, you were seen as threatening, and that had consequences, right? So you didn't know how to speak your mind, and you question your value. You enter relationships that are dramatic, and then you people don't treat you well, and you let them. And also you're very, very attuned to what everyone around you is feeling. You can sense, you're hypersensitive, to what people are feeling, because that's what you had to do with your narcissistic parent. You were never safe. So when they were home, you had to, start walking on eggshells. You had to really be careful, and to capture the mood, to see how it was going to go for you. So this is like terrible boundaries crossing. So it leaves you unable to protect yourself from the emotions of others, because you just take everything in. These children who become adults, adult children, they are chronically unsure of themselves. They over worry about what others think of them. They are deeply insecure, because they never experienced unconditional love. So everything was conditional. There was nothing. They were not loved for who they were. They don't know that you can be loved just for being yourself. And so they struggle in their relationships, at work, with friends, in romantic relationships. They really they struggle a lot, and this wears them out. They feel tired. They just feel like, how come I cannot get to do relationships when everybody, it seems so easy for everyone. They become perfectionistic, so they feel like, when are we to get that next achievement? Finally, I will feel valuable, and it never comes. It never comes, and they don't understand why. So, what do you do then if your mom is a narcissist? So, you have to set boundaries. So, you, as an adult, you have to step into what I already talked about in the immersion episode. You have to work on yourself, on getting awareness of who you are, getting to know yourself, what you like, building your self-confidence, going to therapy, testing out, just trying to build a strong core. And then in the relationship to your mother, you have to set boundaries, not only to your mother, but even to other people. You have to learn to create and maintain healthy boundaries. Uh, be clear, like tell people what you're okay with and what you're not okay with. And when they cross your boundaries, remind them. And you know if they keep crossing, then maybe those are relationships you can get out of. I know that for our mothers it's not so easy. Some people choose to go no contact, as they say. They don't talk to their mother because it's just too much. Maybe the mother said, I brought you to this world, I have the right to abuse you if I want because you belong to me. And then the child is like, okay, that's enough, and they leave or something like that. But if you choose to deal with your parent, you have to set those boundaries. You are an adult. Just remember, you can say, okay, I don't want to talk about this. I don't feel comfortable talking about this. And voila, you just set boundaries. Also, the narcissist feeds off your reaction, your emotions, what you give, right? So you try to stay calm in discussions. Don't give reactions that can make them feel as if they have control over you, because that's what they're always trying to do. So you have to stay calm. You have to become as boring. You have to become very boring for the narcissist. So don't feed them information that, because they live, narcissistic mothers live through their kids. So they need that as they call it, narcissistic supply. They need all the information they can get so that they can be living vicariously through their children, right? So just become as boring as possible. Try to keep like really private information private. Learn those healthy boundaries to protect yourself. Have some planned sentences in your mind to get out of some conversations, like an exit strategy. Or you say you have to get going, or we just have to agree to disagree, things like that, to get out of some conversations or situations. And then also, like, really accepting to let go of the need to take care, of the pressure to take care of your mother, to make her happy, to be the perfect daughter. I so wanted to be the perfect African daughter. Just letting go of that and taking the pressure off, and knowing that it's not your job to make your mom feel special, needed, happy, celebrated. You don't have to sacrifice everything to make that happen. That you have, the only person you have control over is yourself. It's not your mom. And then I would say get help. Go see a therapist. If you're not ready to see a therapist, come see me. I'm a trauma informed coach. Or go see another coach, or speak to your friends. Start somewhere. That's what I'm trying to say. Speak to your friends, be vulnerable, be sincere when you share, because you were taught to hide what you really feel because it has to look good. No, if you want to talk about your family dynamics, and you have like close friends you trust, like really tell them how it is, so that you will see some of them will tell you that it's not normal. They will explain to you why it's not normal. Then you start maybe getting some consciousness. And also, if it's too much, you can just decide to have limited contact with your mother. Just put some distance, be it physical or, you know, and just put some distance to protect yourself and respect your feelings. There are a few things that you shouldn't expect from your narcissistic mother, because she doesn't know there's a problem. So don't expect an apology. Don't expect they will apologize. They will always have excuses for their behavior. They will justify. They will say how it's someone else's fault. Did someone give them bad information? No one told them. My mom used to say, no one told me that I should live with my children. People gave me wrong information. People are so mean and things like that. So it was everybody else except her when we were trying to confront her with certain realities. Or she would start crying and then we couldn't confront her. So it was never about us at the end of the day. It was never about being heard because she would always transform it into something else. And also don't try to fix or heal her because you cannot change her personality. That's I tried that and it hurts. Yeah, because you're trying to change someone else. So it's I think what's more important is to build compassion for her struggles and just know that she isn't conscious of it. She thinks she's okay like that, and just have compassion. I know where my mom comes from. I know the life she had, and I don't even I feel so much compassion for her. I don't know what I would have done if I had lived the life she lived. So I totally have compassion for her for it. But at the same time, I will protect myself and protect my children so that we break the cycle, right? That's the whole goal. Yeah, don't compare her to other mothers. Meet her where she is. Build the kind of relationship with her that makes you feel comfortable, makes you not feel icky with yourself. And yeah, that's it. It's don't deny yourself to make your mom happy and take the pressure off. I hope you enjoyed this episode. It's not an easy one, but it's a necessary one. I will see what I do next. Maybe the dynamic between siblings when they grow up in such a context. We'll see. Thank you for now. Bye bye.